A new angle. Okay, so today is another reading wrap up. It's going to be a really short reading wrap up because in April I was in a reading slump. I read 4 books, and those 4 books were not that interesting, but you know, you can't win them all. But I am taking it one day at a time, so let's start. So, starting the month, I read Black Beauty by Anna Sewell. This is told from the perspective of a horse, detailing his life from living with kind to unkind owners, and just talks about the consequences of animal cruelty, especially horse cruelty, set in Victorian England. And Anna Sewell, I believe, wrote this instead of a pamphlet or a newspaper piece to bring awareness to horse treatment in the 1800s, especially back then when they were mainly used to pull carriages and goods and endure intense labor. This is targeted towards older children. I think it's considered a older children's classic. I don't know why I picked this up. It was kind of a rough read for me. I almost didn't finish it because the contents is so sad. I don't think I'm the target audience. This I can see being really effective to children, and yeah, it was cool. I think if anything, it's just like checking off this off of my reading list, one of the classics. So, and then from there, I read Call Me by Your Name by Andrea Asiman. This is told from the perspective of a teenager. He goes through an intense, obsessive first love as well as coming to terms with his sexuality. This is a great character study or writing study because the writing is super lyrical, it's stream of consciousness, and it really speaks about the intensity that one feels when they fall in love for the first time. There are a lot of points where it kind of dragged, only in that every moment was super profound, which was super effective because thinking about it, when you were a teenager, everything was profound. Every interaction, message, body movement. I remember having a crush when I was a teenager and over analyzing every situation, every conversation. I just thought this was super relatable. As profound and intense some of the parts were, that is pretty realistic to how a teenager thinks, especially a teenager that's super thoughtful and intelligent. Elio is super likable, clearly is well read, intelligent, and can process his feelings as rational or unrational as they are, being blinded by this toxic first love. The writing was super raw and vulnerable. Honestly, it felt like I was intruding on someone's thoughts or someone's diary because it was just that vulnerable. Next, I read Lights Out by Navessa Allen. This is a dark romance. It's about a trauma nurse and a social media mask influencer, and they fall in love in unconventional ways. I do want to say that the writing in the plot wasn't as compelling as some of the other stuff I've read, but I do enjoy more unconventional kinks that doesn't get talked about in modern romance. I enjoy the sensual and mature aspect of those kinks. The writing brings a lot of awareness to more unconventional kinks, done in a very respectful and consensual way between two mature characters, and if anything, it just brings awareness to a different type of love that might repulse others, but if you think about it from a critical lens, the characters were very healthy and level-headed and not toxic in the way that is stupid, but done in a very healthy and realistic way. So in some ways it could be educational if you want to see it that way, but yeah. Next, I read The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, the first book in the Millennium series. This follows a journalist and a badass hacker, and they team up to solve this mysterious disappearance of a girl who is from a well-known, high-profile Swedish family. The Millennium series has a lot of themes about violence against women. Some of the satisfying ending is that they do take down corrupt individuals with power. It's a thriller, so it was very thrilling. I think this will get me out of a reading slump. I also want to show you what I'm currently reading. I have this Gabriel Garcia Marquez book, Love in the Time of Cholera. I have had this book for 6 years now sitting on the shelf, and I finally picked it up today. And I just want to show you the stunning illustrations. This is done by Lucia Rivera. She's a Chilean artist, and she does a lot of art pieces for his novels. and it has this like signature watercolor or acrylic style. Look at the details, and the color palette is so pretty. I want to show you some pages. And this illustration book has illustrations every 30 or 40 pages. Like, look at how stunning it is. If I can show it. Okay. Pretty, huh? So pretty. I like that warm pink tone in this, because I know in 100 Years of Solitude there's a lot more blues and greens. I want to segue into other Latin authors. He is my first because he's been talked about, like, for me growing up in my family. I am trying to read books from all over the world, and he's just one of the most well-known ones for me. And I hope to read more engaging books this month. I don't care about how many books I read. I just need something that keeps my attention and is interesting and has likable characters or unlikable characters. And I say this because I tried to read The Favorites by Lang Fargo earlier this week, and I just put it down after the 10th chapter. I had different expectations for it. I think it stems from two things. The first, I still have really vivid memories of how satisfying it was to watch Heat of Rivalry in the beginning of the year. I know that's different from reading it, but watching it, it was just, I love that it was like good sportsmanship, good romance, likable characters with their own conflicts, and kind of having that resolve at the end, and it was very satisfying. It was almost fantasy-like because of just how happily ever after it was. Seeing The Favorites being recommended on my Fable Mutuals, I thought this was going to be something else than it actually was. I did read that it's like a Wuthering Heights retelling, and the only thing I know about Wuthering Heights is that it's super toxic. So maybe that was it. Like, I'm just not really into toxic romances right now. Okay, another expectation I had, I picked this up an audiobook. It has a full stacked cast of voice actors, and immediately I was thinking, oh, this is going to be another Daisy Jones and the Six, because it is kind of set in an interview and first person perspective with the different voice actings. I thought this could be just as fun as Daisy Jones, because when I listened to Daisy Jones, that was just 2 days of pure entertainment. And The Favorites quickly became something that felt more like a chore for me, so I just did myself a service and stopped listening. And I'm not ashamed of it, honestly, because I went on Reddit and I searched up the spoilers, and I'm so glad I put it down, because my first impression of Kat, if you know the character Kat, she is this badass, talented skater who is like one-track minded to become a successful skater. But when I read the spoilers, it seems like there's just so much stupid toxic romance stuff that doesn't make sense, given that she's had such a hard early childhood. Her character was kind of set up to be super resilient, badass woman that you want to root for. The ending goes against what she was set up originally to be. But yeah, that was just like a quick rant. Maybe I'm just not in the right headspace, you know. I can always revisit it. I don't know. What do you think? Well, thanks for listening. That was a very short reading wrap up.